Hi, I'm Sophie, and welcome to our English Learning Podcast. I'm so happy to be here today with Daniel, my friend and co-host. Hi, Daniel. How are you today?
Hi, Sophie. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm excited to talk with you today. How about you, Sophie? How's your day going?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking. I had a busy morning preparing for this episode, but now I feel relaxed and ready to talk with our listeners.
That's wonderful, and I hope our listeners are ready too. Before we start, let's remind them, if you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It really helps us a lot, and it also shows that you want more English learning episodes.
Absolutely. And remember, even small steps are important when you learn English. Today's episode will help you practice everyday conversation.
Yes. So, Sophie, what is our topic today?
Today, we are going to talk about how to talk about your weekend in English. This is something we say all the time, at work, at school, with friends, or even when meeting new people. Asking about the weekend is very common in English-speaking countries.
Exactly. People often ask, so, how was your weekend? Or, what did you do this weekend? And sometimes learners don't know how to answer naturally.
Yes, and that's why today we will give simple, easy-to-use sentences, plus examples and tips so our listeners can answer confidently. We will also talk about small details that make your answers sound natural.
And we will give examples for different types of weekends: relaxing, busy, family time, time with friends, studying, or even doing hobbies. That way, everyone can find something useful for their own life.
Perfect. So let's start with the most common and simple ways to answer the question, how was your weekend?
Great. The easiest answer is something like, it was good, or it was nice. Very simple, very safe. You don't need to make it complicated.
Exactly. And after that, you can add one or two actions. For example, it was good. I stayed at home and watched a movie. Or it was nice. I visited my parents.
Yes, and even small actions are fine. For example, it was good. I read a book and relaxed. That sounds very natural.
Many learners think they must say something exciting, like traveling or going to a party. But in reality, most people have normal weekends, and that is completely okay.
That's true. The important thing is to say what you did, even if it's simple. It's real, it's authentic, and small details make the conversation more interesting.
Right. Before we move to the next part, let's give our listeners a few more examples they can copy today. I had a quiet weekend. I slept a lot and cooked at home. My weekend was busy. I met friends and went shopping. It was relaxing. I spent time with my family. It was fun. I played football with my friends.
These are great examples. Simple, short, and easy to remember. And they sound like real conversations.
Okay, Daniel. Now that we have the simple answers, let's move to the next part. How to give more details about your weekend so your answer sounds longer and more natural.
Yes, Sophie. Giving more details is very important. If you just say, I watched a movie, it's correct, but adding a little more information makes your answers sound natural and interesting.
Exactly. For example, instead of saying only I watched a movie, you can say, I watched a movie on Netflix with my sister on Saturday evening. It's still simple, but now it has who, where, and when.
Yes, and small details like that make a big difference. You can also talk about your feelings. I watched a comedy movie, and it was really funny. See? One small feeling word adds life to your sentence.
Absolutely. And another example, I visited my cousin on Sunday afternoon and we played board games together. Very natural, very friendly.
Or, I cooked pasta with my mother and it was delicious. See? Adding a reason or feeling makes it even better.
Yes, Daniel. And learners can also talk about hobbies. I painted a picture and it was relaxing. Or I practiced the guitar for 2 hours and it was fun.
That's right. And it's okay if your weekend was a little boring. You can say, "It was okay. I stayed at home and cleaned my room." Or, "It was a quiet weekend. I rested and read a book."
Exactly. And here's a simple formula that works very well. Action plus opinion plus reason. For example, I visited my parents and it was very nice because we cooked together. Or I went to the park and it was relaxing because I walked with my dog. Or I studied for my exam and it was tiring but necessary.
Oh yes, that formula is very useful. Learners can just change the actions and opinions for their own weekends. It's easy to remember.
And another tip, you can connect sentences with words like and, then, after that, or also. For example, I watched a movie and then I cooked dinner. After that, I read a book.
That's very natural. People do this all the time in conversations. It also makes your English longer and smoother, not just one short sentence.
So, now we learned simple answers and how to add details. The next step is to ask other people about their weekend. This is very important because a conversation is two-way, not just talking about yourself.
Yes, Sophie. Asking about other people's weekend is very important. A conversation isn't just about you, it's also about the other person.
Exactly, Daniel. The most common question is simple: how was your weekend? But there are other natural ways to ask, like, did you do anything special? Or what did you do on Sunday?
And after they answer, you can react with small, friendly phrases like, "Oh, nice. That sounds fun. Really? That's interesting. Oh, yes, I understand."
Yes, these small reactions make the conversation feel friendly and alive. They show that you were listening and that you care about what the other person did.
And learners can also ask follow-up questions. For example, what movie did you watch? Who did you play board games with? What kind of pasta did you cook?
Exactly. Follow-up questions make the conversation longer and more natural, and it is a very common habit in English-speaking countries.
Sophie, another tip is to use small expressions for agreement or empathy. For example, "Oh yes, I know that feeling." "That's true. I understand. I've done that too."
Right. These expressions learners can say even if their English is not perfect. It makes conversations friendly and real.
And remember, it's okay if your weekend was simple. You can be honest. "It was quiet. I stayed home and watched a TV show." Then you can ask, "And how about you?"
Yes, exactly. That shows respect and interest. And this is also a great way to practice new vocabulary. For example, learners can use words like relaxing, busy, fun, tiring, or exciting.
Another tip is to talk about daily life or small routines. For example, "I did laundry and cleaned my room." "I went to the supermarket and cooked dinner." "I went for a walk in the park with my dog."
These examples are very natural and something people do every weekend. And using these words makes your English real and practical.
Now that we learned how to answer, give details, and ask about others' weekends, it's time for the final part, a short summary of all the key expressions and tips.
Yes, Daniel, now it's time to summarize all the key expressions and tips from today's episode. This will help our listeners remember everything and practice easily.
Absolutely. First, the simplest answers to "How was your weekend?" are "It was good." "It was nice." "It was okay." "It was relaxing." "It was tiring."
Yes, and then you can add one or two actions. For example, I stayed at home and watched a movie. I visited my parents. I met friends and went shopping. I cooked dinner with my family.
And don't forget to add opinions or feelings. It makes your sentences more natural. For example, "It was fun because I played football." "It was relaxing because I stayed offline." "It was tiring because I cleaned the house."
Right. And another tip is to connect sentences with words like and, then, after that, or also. For example, I watched a movie and then I cooked dinner. After that, I read a book.
Next, we learned how to ask others about their weekends. Common questions are, how was your weekend? Did you do anything special? What did you do on Sunday?
And always react naturally to their answers. Oh, nice. That sounds fun. Really? That's interesting. Oh, yes, I understand.
Follow-up questions are also very useful. For example, what movie did you watch? Who did you meet? What did you cook?
And finally, don't forget expressions for agreement or empathy. Oh, yes, I know that feeling. That's true. I understand. I've done that too.
Sophie, these tips are very simple, but if listeners practice them every week, their English will improve a lot.
Exactly, Daniel. And remember, it's okay if your weekend was simple or quiet. Honest, natural answers are always good in conversation.
Yes, and practicing small details, feelings, and follow-up questions makes you a better speaker.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope this episode was useful, warm, and easy to follow. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't give up. Your English will improve little by little every week.
That's right, and we would love to hear from you. Try these sentences this week and leave a comment. How was your weekend?
Have a wonderful day, keep learning, and see you in the next episode.